heavy things, sir. I think half the nation thinks whatever comes out of your mouth.
Tonight I'm starting off with saying thank you first. Thank you first. That is what I'm starting off with tonight, because there's many responses of people that we don't know that is saying thank you to us, and we feel, that we would have never reached them without you guys that share for us and share for the people that it needs to reach and things like that. And I think tonight I'm actually very excited, because we're going to hear a parent and a loved one's point of view and trials and situations and things like that he's been through with these boys that are very dear to him, and how and why it's worked for him up until now. It's Grant and Graeme's dad, Uncle Butch, and I respect the walk that he's walked with these two boys, and also, very humble man when it comes to taking advice of how to deal with these boys with addiction and things like that, and sticking to the things that he's learned from RAEL, from Mr. Hall, and the guidance that he's got of how to deal with these boys with the addiction and things like that, for his own sanity and for his boys' health. And today they both once again obviously productive members of society, and we've heard where they come from and where they are now. So please, parents, people, friends all over the world, South Africa mainly, thank you so much for sharing. It really is reaching the people that it needs to, and we can only gain by doing this, all of us, because if it reaches a drug addict in your street and he can do something about it, or his parents can do something about it, there's less chance that your car is going to get broken into, or there's less chance that, if you know what I mean, when I'm speaking about this, there's less chance that there's going to be the harm done in his family that has been done in our families. So thank you again for everybody that shares our videos and things like that. We are getting a big response, and in this way, this is how we remove the stigma. Drug addicts aren't bad people who made wrong choices and decisions and things like that. But the end of the road isn't jails, institutions, and death when it's dealt with in the correct way. So I'll give it over to Uncle Butch, and I really hope the parents and loved ones that are watching can maybe invite one or two of their friends that they know that have kids that struggle with this problem, and we should share this instead of being embarrassed about it, because if you got two kids, usually one of the two in 2020 has a substance abuse problem. That is just the pandemic and the way the world is. So I'm going to give it over to Uncle Butch now, and maybe we can all learn something from him, because he's come a long way with these boys, and the results, that is what counts in recovery, and he seems to be getting them. Thank you. Love you all. I'll give it over to Uncle Butch now.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Kurt. That was really well said and well done. It makes me feel so much easier and more comfortable having to speak in front of this camera. Where do I start? This has been sort of pushed down my throat as I arrived here today, and I don't know where to start, but I think I should just start from the beginning. or shall I say, in the beninging, as they say. In the beninging, my children, both boys were fantastic at school. They both did well. They both were fine. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, we had these problems with the children. And you know what they say, the children are subjected to the wrong friends. I would like to cut that short immediately and tell you that if your child has a drug problem, he is the wrong friend, not the other children. Your child is the problem. Two ways you can handle this. And the best result I've ever seen has come from RAEL. RAEL Rehabilitation Centre in Worcester, where I'm speaking from now. It's run by a chap called Anthony Hall. And the only way to deal with this is to face it head on. By judging them and by being vindictive towards them, you chase them away. Face it head on, love them. You will lose respect, but that respect, I promise you, that respect comes back. It comes back in different ways, through the success that they have, through the way they respect other people, and eventually you see it goes away. Now, I had a situation, and I can't speak about other people's children, I can only speak about my own. I had a situation where both my boys were addicts. One, who is my youngest son, Graeme, was living in a car park at Kenilworth Centre, and they were parking cars for money, and if they couldn't get money, they then broke into the cars. House robberies, breaking in, stealing, doing all kinds of things. And then you get the call. The call is, sir, we've arrested your son. He's at Polsmo. Come and have a look. Come speak to him. Come see what you can do. And you try and get bail. And it becomes a big, ugly schlep mess. And you have sleepless nights. And you have arguments with your wife or your husband. And you sort of start blaming each other. And there's no one to blame. No one to blame. The person you blame is the addict himself, because it's a route that they choose, and it's a route that they know it all. And for them to succeed as an addict, the only way they can do that is by stealing, robbing, and that makes them end up in prison. Thank the Lord for Anthony Hall, because here he comes along. You book your child in at the rehab, and for 6 months you're not allowed to see them. That's it. They're in a program. The program knocks them right down to nothing and then rebuilds them, builds them up again into decent, productive human beings. So much so that my son Graeme, who I was telling you about, who was in Polsmo, he's become a qualified panel beater. He runs the panel beating coach house, workshop, whatever you want to call it, Coach Works at RAEL. And they now, okay, with this lockdown thing, it slowed down, but afterwards, because they were doing well before the lockdown. And once this lockdown is out of the way, I'm pretty sure it'll be back up and running. And again, credit to the rehab, because there's nothing you as a parent can really do about it. You have to use your wits. And the way I did it was I became a good personal friend of Anthony Hall's. And today still probably one of my best friends. Painful sometimes, but one of my best friends. And if you can, I don't know how to say this, but if you can face and get on the right side of where you should be, not only towards your child, but at home and the surroundings that you live in and surround yourself with, and the people you surround yourself with, that gives you strength to handle these problems as they come. Because my word, did I have sleepless nights. I parked on top of Kenilworth Centre looking down and watching my child parking cars. And he wasn't kicked out of our house. He decided to leave on his own accord because of the rules. My other son, Grant, absolutely perfect. Came out of rehab, all good. Worked with me in my little business, worked with me every day, and especially weekends. And then one weekend I was waiting for him to come to work, and he had just fallen off the bus again. So I'm speaking to those parents who now have children who are addicts, who are in rehabs. They'll tell you a story, they will lie, they will steal, and you'll be none the wiser until again they fall off the bus, which has happened to my oldest son. He fell off the bus. He's now back in the rehab, back in the program, trying to get himself together again, and again through the absolute grace of God and Anthony Hall, who's allowed him to come back, it's become maintainable, and I can handle it, because I couldn't handle it up until then. They sent me a photograph of him when he came in here, and this is true, I'm not ashamed of it. When I saw that photograph, which Kurt actually sent to me, I burst into tears because I couldn't believe it was the same son. I couldn't believe it was the same child that had worked with me for as long as he had. Anyway, to cut a long story short, he's been back in rehab now for, I think, 6 months, 6.5 months, and he's doing well, really well. The thing to remember is that you never, ever, ever need to be ashamed of your children, irrespective of what they've done and what they do. And if you have the courage to show tough love, in other words, don't just accept the fact that they're now in rehab and everyone's happy and it's all hunky-dory. Play the hardball, play the game the way it should be played, because it's not... You can only be doing yourself harm if you just accept things all the time. Don't accept things all the time. If you have to be tough and like there's some parents don't accept them back into the house. There's some children who want to, through depression, want to do themselves in. It's hard, but you have to be that way. And at the end, I promise you people, at the end, it'll all be good. It'll all be fine. I go to sleep very well at night. I have no more problems about worrying where they are, who they're with, what car they're breaking into, what house they're breaking into, who they're robbing, who they're stabbing. You don't know. You really don't know. So, as I've said, and I'll say it again, it's nice as a parent to think that your kids are perfect and your kids are true examples of the way you live and the way you are. But behind the scenes, when they reach a certain age, you really don't know what's going on, because they hide it from you and they lie and they are experts. There's a reason for a season, is the saying that it goes. And that can be in any format. It can be the reason they don't want to be in your house, the reason they don't want to live with you anymore, the reason they become rebellious. And all of that, all of those different reasons can be sorted out at RAEL Rehabilitation Centre, which is run by Anthony Hall. All of those problems can be sorted out here And you as a parent must not interfere with that. Allow it to go its course. Allow any rehab center to do the work that they do. Let it go its course. And at the end, if you have stuck to what you are supposed to have done, you will be a winner. It'll be fine. You know, they say it's nice to be important, but it's far more important to be nice. Be nice. Show them that you are respectful of them, and they will respect you back. But if he comes home and you're going to be hard on him, where have you been, what are you doing, blah, 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 he's going to end up right back where he started. So, again, nice to be important, but far more important to be nice. I really don't know what else to say other than that. How much longer do I have to speak here? A lot longer. Oh, I've run out of things to say. You've done it all already, you know. Yeah, what else can I say? Anyone got some ideas for me here? What I can say? Because I'm done. I can't put it in any more words than I've already put it. Just be as tough and as strong as you can be. And in the end, your children will be fine. Now we come to the other side of the thing. I've just thought of something. What about parents who show no time and respect for their children because they are alcoholics, they are drug addicts or whatever? Just exactly the same thing, but the roles are reversed. You're going to end up being a very lonely old person, maybe living on the streets, maybe living wherever. Children. And by that I don't mean goody two-shoes every minute of the day, but set an example for your children so that your children eventually will think, you know what, my old lady and my old man, they were all right. They did what they had to do. Because if you can't love your loved ones, who can you love? That's what I'm asking. You know, there are people going to bed at night who are starving. They've got no food, nothing, but the parents are drunk. It's a tough life, really a tough life. Now with this COVID-19 disease virus thing that's going around has made it a lot worse, because the pressure on people is far worse. The pressure on people trying to make a living, the pressure on people running businesses, the pressure on people who are responsible and other people rely on them, and there's nothing they can do about it, nothing at all, because of a group of people, I'll put it in inverted commas, who run this country. But Anthony Hall's already spoken to everyone about that. So I'm not going to reiterate what he said. You should know what he said. Excuse me. I'm just going to have some water while I think of what else to say, because they want me here for half an hour. It's nuts. Ah, lovely. Nothing better than fresh water, cold water. Do I have any questions here? Let me see. Has anyone asked me any questions? Charlotte Bester-Mankes, sir, what do you gain out of your boy's recovery? For yourself, what did I learn in the process? I learned to be humble, without a word of doubt. I learned to be humble and accept. And you see this grey head of mine? It all comes from my children, all of it. I never earned one grey hair. They gave it all to me. And the reason I'm said to you, I learned to be humble, because there but for the grace of God go I. It can happen to anybody. There are doctors who are addicts. There are lawyers who are addicts. There are burgies who are addicts. Burgies mix with burgies, doctors mix with doctors. And that's how life is. But I learned to be humble, and I learned so much about how to handle situations, which I never knew before. I was taught that by Anthony Hall. So the people who your children go to, the people who your children look up to, that's what I wanted to say. There's a reason they look up to them. And that reason is not because you're feeding them drugs or feeding them money and saying go to the mall or go here or go there. They must look up to you with respect because of your actions, nothing else. Your actions, how you respect them, how you speak to them, how you react to them, whether they're good or bad. Obviously, when they're bad, you're going to be angry and you're going to retaliate with a bit of aggression, I suppose, in some cases. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, they are your blood. And it's with you till the day you take your last breath. Whether they're good or bad, love them. Love them. Be humble. There, but for the grace of God, go I. Got a thing here from Richard Ferreira. Uncle Butch, you are a true example how recovery can bring joy. Well done, Richie. Hope you're well. Hope you're good. Kurt, this is the dad of Graeme the Great. Oh, my word. I promise you, 4 years ago, he wasn't Graeme the Great, he was Graeme the Gone. Because he was gone. And today, look at him. He is thriving, not 4 years, 5 years, I'm being told here in the background. 5 years ago, he was a piece of spinach running around a car park, parking cars. Today is a full-grown cauliflower, budding everywhere. Brilliant. Proud of him, love him to bits. Both my boys and Grant. Love them both, irrespective of the grey hairs. Love them both. Chantal Crocker, I am all for humble parents. Yes, maybe you did not say it the way it was, but you now say it as it is. Every single parent is cross and every single parent does not agree. But then we have parents like you. Thank you, Chantal. I'm only the parent I am because what I've learnt. And I've learnt how to react and how to respond to issues, which before I never knew how to respond to those issues. Because everything with me was going to be aggression, fight it. You lose if you fight it. You have to tackle it as it comes your way, piece by piece, incident by incident, and then you will, then I promise you, I'm living proof of it. You will go and sleep better at night, and you will be at one with yourself. And if you're at one with yourself, everyone else around you counts. Everyone around you will be happy just as you are. But if you're in a mood and you're aggressive and you're full of nonsense, the people around you, they'll walk away from you. Because no one wants that. Nobody wants to do that. It's easy for me to sit here 5 years later and say, well, my boys are fine. As long as they live, they won't be fine. There will always be that sword of Damocles hanging over their heads, which says to them, I was an addict. And the easiest thing for them to do is to say, I am an addict, which they are. They'll be addicts until the day they die. It's how they control that addiction and how they respond to situations where they end up at a party, for example, and someone offers them a drink or offers them a joint, offers them a line of Coke. It only takes one. So Learn to accept the fact that your children are, if they've been in rehab and they've come out, and some of them relapse and some don't, that's a part of life. But learn to accept it. Because as long as you live, they will be addicts. No matter where they go, what they do, how they do it, they are addicts, recovering addicts. And it's through love and building them up, and they'll be fine. I promise you they'll be fine. I look at my two boys, I look at all the guys here at the rehab, love them to bits. But obviously my own boys come first, and I am so proud of them, and I'm so uplifted when I look at what they've done and what they've achieved. Oh, it makes me feel good. Really makes me feel good. Please, guys, you who have children who have problems, uplift them. You'll feel good. I promise you, at the end of the day, you'll feel good. Let's have a look at this message. Dominique Hall. Evening, sir. Please, can you speak of the support a family? Can you speak of the support of family towards each other while have an addict in the family? The only thing I can say about that is don't hide it. Don't hide the story that, oh boy, I don't want Auntie Susan to know that my son's an addict. Auntie Susan needs to know your son's an addict, because the next time someone breaks in her house, it's probably going to be your son. Share it. Share it so that the word spreads, that you yourself have got nothing to hide. You didn't make your child an addict. Who made your child an addict? Your child made your child an addict. No one else. No one took him by the hand and forced him on the ground and shoved a liter of cocaine down his throat. He did that himself. No one took tick and put it in a pipe and forced him to do it. He did it himself. And it wasn't the wrong friends. He's the wrong friend. She's the wrong friend. Learn to stand by that. Learn to accept it firstly. You need to accept it. And once you've accepted it, live with it. Because it might never go away. In my case, I'm extremely blessed and extremely happy. I don't worry about it anymore. But in the beginning, wow, it's tough. It's really hard. Don't be shameful of your child, ever, no matter what the reason. Don't be shameful of your child. I'll repeat it. Because your child may be the only thing that, you may be the only thing that your child has got. And if you're shameful of him, who does he look up to? No one else. Nobody else. Okay. Kurt Schuller, remove the stigma. What's that mean, Kurt? Andrew Brown, who's 15 months today. What does he say? I'm really happy that you are a proud father of two wonderful men. Much love to you all. Andrew Brown sends love to you all. Who else is this? Avril Klein, I take my hat off to you. Marius Matthijs van Rijn. Well spoken, Mr. van Rensburg. It's just the truth. And everything around you will come right. Everything, no matter which way you look at it, it'll come. Don't deny it, don't hide it. My son's in Zanzibar. Tell the truth. Accept it. It makes you a better person because you have nothing to hide. And it also means your children will realize that you mean business. Yeah, hold on a sec. I'm just having a look at something here. Yeah, I just got a message from Dr. Rihanna. Also says, me and my boys have come a long way. I haven't come a long way. My boys have. I've come with them, but they've had the hard ride. I've had the joy of being a parent and the joy of being an adult, but I've also had the joy of watching my kids rebuild their lives. And they've rebuilt their lives so that I have no argument. I have to be proud of them. And the reason they've rebuilt their lives is because I've never interfered with it, ever. Never. I've left it to Anthony Hall, and that's his job. His job is to sort those kids out. It's not my job. I did a better enough job messing them up because I'm partly to blame. It wasn't just their fault. In some cases, you have to take a little bit of blame. In some cases, you have to take a lot of blame. But I have never once interfered with the running and the rebuilding and the restructuring of my children's lives. Not once. And I'm not going to. I'm done. I've been a parent for so long, I've forgotten when it started. It's not for you who has absolutely no experience to now all of a sudden become this counselor. Let the professionals sort it out. It's their job. That's what they're here for. That's what they do. Bobby Opperman Ulefier, replying to Chantal Crocker. Okay, agreed. The breather, I'm so proud of him. Cole, okay, that is my son. Lindy Bauer. Hello, my booty. That's my sister. Telling me she's proud because I've walked with my kids. I have walked with them on the high road and the low road. You have to walk with them. You don't have to hold their hands. They're old enough to carry themselves. But if they know you're with them and not against them, it makes it easier for them. Makes it easier so that not only you can sleep better at night, they can as well. You don't know what's going on in their heads when it aches on a 6-week downer because he hasn't had it fixed, or he hasn't had a joint, or he hasn't had a dop, or he hasn't had whatever he's on. You don't know what is in his head. You haven't a clue. And you know what? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant because he's asleep, and whatever's going on in his head is not making any nonsense. He's not out there stealing. He's not out there robbing. He's in bed. He's at home. He's safe. And so are you. If you can just overcome that initial sensation of being afraid every time you hear your child's voice. Every time you think, oh my word, what has he done now? Where is he? What is he up to? You overcome that by being, number one, being honest with yourself and accepting the punch. And number two, far more important than yourself, is you stand by them so that they can feel good about themselves. I know for a fact, as I'm sitting here now, that both my boys, both of them, feel good about themselves. And the reason they feel good about themselves is because they've been built up to feel good about themselves. So I don't know how much longer I have to talk on this thing. I think I've spoken enough. I would just like to say to Anthony Hall, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm going to hand it over to him so he can respond. And he can have a few words to say. I hope he doesn't swear because he has a penchant for swearing when he's in front of a camera. But I zapped him today for swearing. And that's how we are. You cannot hurt a friend or your children by being honest with them. You can't hurt them. Whether they like it or not, and you're honest with them, they will accept it. So people, sit back, relax, sleep well, do whatever, and be humble. That's my message. be humble. It's nice to be important, but it's far more important to be nice. Good night.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, God, that was tough. You outside me, eh?
Good evening, all. Yeah.
You have enough.
First time we've had a story from a father. We can have a story from a mother tomorrow night. Helen's going to share. But wow, how's Butch's story? Straight out of the truth,
Yeah.
of the absolute truth. And thank you, Butch, for sharing. His sons are doing so well. Like there's others who are doing well. Congratulations, Andrew, on your 15 months. It's a brilliant achievement. But remember, we don't run the 100 meters in recovery. We're in a marathon at the moment, and the marathon never ends until we go into a brown box. I think these days it's a black box, but I don't know. Yeah, Butch came and shared the truth, and the beautiful stuff is, or thing is, that his two sons are sitting here in the lounge listening. And I know the whole in-depth story, and Butch didn't go into the in-depth story because there was no need to relive that pain. It's now more of a time to relive the joy that is happening in his life. You know, Butch has always been known as quite a woman's man and a good-looking man, and he's still a good-looking man at 70-odd. But
70-odd.
he'll get there. You know, we've got a great friendship. We started a friendship here. I want to tell you something what happened just very shortly until his son Graeme talks and says what he wants to say for 5 minutes. I think it's beautiful that a family can be together. The motto of RAEL is saving lives, uniting families. And as Butch said, by God's grace, and my dad's favourite saying, there but for the grace of God go I. One day, Butch, I think 2 years ago, was standing in the lounge here, and he gave me something. And I said, no, I can't take this. He said, you will take it. And he's bigger than me, so I said, okay, I'll take it. And because it's all about the kroon. And he turned around to me and he said, what do you give to the man who saved your son's life? And I immediately turned around to him and I said, we're just the servant. God saved his life. He said, but no, you were there. And I went to my room and I was in tears. I was crying. It affected me. And I often tell the story. It affected me, just the responsibility that we have as the leadership here, myself, Kurt, Graeme, Angus, you know, Leroy, the responsibility we've got for each other people's lives, for other families' lives. There's a massive responsibility on us. We laugh, we joke, we're naughty, we have fun, we do whatever any other normal person does. And what is normal? Like Butch says, doctors hang with doctors, except in my case, and bergies hang with bergies. But we can still have fun, and we can still have a lot of fun, and we have a lot of laughters here. But the laughter cannot be when it comes to the recovery meetings and when it comes to discipline, respect, morals and values. There is no substitute for that. There is no ways we're going to compromise respect, discipline, morals and values. Don't cross the line with the person who heads a home. Don't become familiar. And that's what kids must learn at home. Your parents are your parents. They're not your friends. Your friends you find at school or you find at work. Respect the parents, honor the parents. And I remember one day, I was getting quite choked up there, that a guy was driving me around Kenilworth. We were going to go look for something. It wasn't a hooker, I can promise you. And I saw Butch's car at a car wash. And he said to me, we stopped there and we greeted. And he said to me, Anthony, come look here. And we got to the edge of where we are at the car wash near Kenilworth Centre. And he says, you know, Anthony, how many times I have stood here and watched my son park cars and push trolleys. And then the man just started crying. So there's a deep story here. There's a deep story of two young men led by a beautiful man. And I say it because he's a very good friend of mine, a very close friend of mine. These days you don't get confidence, I believe. You get people who try to find dirt on you.
I'm careful today who I share anything with. Anything with. And this is a man I can share it with 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock in the morning. We phone, we have a laugh. But when it comes to the time that we have to get serious, we get serious. So he's here tonight, you know, and it's so wonderful to have him here. My friend is at home here. And my house is his house. But he didn't say his house is my house, but it's okay, you know, because as a recovering addict, he doesn't want to say that yet. I've only been 15 years sober, but we'll wait till I'm 25 years sober, you may say that. But that's the camaraderie we've gotten. A lot of times, and I'm going to say something that's a bit controversial here, but it's the truth. A lot of times when the addict or the alcoholic, or call him what you like, the person, whatever, comes into recovery, our main battle is not the addict. It's the parent. The parent wants to put the son into a rehab, and then a parent wants to run the rehab. And then the parent wants to phone every 2 minutes how your son is. There's no change. And the parents, you form quite a nice relationship with them, but when it comes near the end, they start the nitpicking. After you've told them, these are the boundaries, if he goes out there, it's like going to a hair salon. And I know the hair salons are not operating at the moment. And I feel sorry. A lot of my friends are hairdressers. Going to a hair salon and you have a perm. I remember my mother going for perms and all that. She loved it. She loved it. And by the way, she's doing very well. And you come out and it's windy. What do? You don't just go walk in the wind for the next 10 kilometers, because then why have the bloody perm? It's the same as coming into recovery. Don't come for 6 or 9 months and then go out and don't do exactly what was told for you to do. Parents withdraw the boundaries too quickly. Then it's a car, then it's a cell phone, then it's an overseas trip, then it's a hooker, then it's this, then it's this, then it's this. And I'm not talking about all the parents. I'm talking about parents that are too close to their children in the friendship buzz. And then when they have to discipline their children, they can't because they're too close. And I see it over and over and over at RAEL. The main thing is what I've seen with Butch. He told me when he booked his son in, Anthony, my son is now in your hands. Do what you must do. And I did what I had to do, and it was an absolute pleasure. And people say to me, hey, he's like a little son to you, and he gets away with murder. Yes, he does, man. But I'll tell you one thing, he will bloody listen to me until the day he leaves here in 25 years' time. He will listen to me. Because he's not my friend. He's very close to me. But we have an invisible line. Because once we start getting too familiar, that familiarity breeds contempt. And once we breed contempt, we get contemptuous. Not bad for an Oak Standard 7. So we have to enjoy ourselves. We have to laugh. We have to have fun. We have a lot of fun in this house. We have a lot of fun outside there. You know, we have a lot of people that support us. Let me just say this for 2 minutes. Because we're not an island. We don't want to say we are the best in South Africa when we know we are. Because it's addicts run by addicts. We got Pastor Marion. We've got Katrina. We've got Dr. Dutoy, Rihanna Dutoy, who comes here and sees the guys. Who does so much for RAEL. Behind the scenes, they're never in front of the camera. We've got Pastor Kearney Malchas. He comes here and does from building to preaching, you name it, he does it. We've got so many people that come. We've got people from Mariette from Ortex and her friend who come and visit us and bring us sandwiches and you name it. Because we want to make this a home. It's not an institution. This is a home. But in a home, you have to respect the rules of the head of the home. My home, my rules. And there aren't rules that are draconian. Like Ramaphosa, Becky Chelly, a.k.a. Chuck Norris. We're not like that. We want to have fun, but we know that our very lives depend on what we hear and what we do. If we play with what we do, and we don't take into our minds what we have been taught, the relapse is waiting. Alcohol, drugs, pornography, gambling, you name it. Like Butch said about doctors, advocates, plumbers, there's addicts and alcoholics of every profession. I know a lot of doctors that are alcoholics. But that's okay. We'll get them right. So keeping the status quo of recovery. When it comes to our recovery, nothing must get in our way. We are serious about this. Our very lives depend on this. We don't put anything above our recovery but God. Because anything that you put in front of your recovery, you will lose. You will lose. And that's why sometimes I think if you can come through the school of RAEL, you can go to any school. Because here we are straight with each other. Absolutely straight. Can someone get me my glasses, please? Because there's a question here, and I don't want to misanswer it because I may be held for contempt and lose the court case or something. Okay, sorry, when you get to this age, you thank you, Kurt. That's why I pay you so much to be my manager. I want to contact Anthony regarding my son. Okay, that's not a problem. Okay, Kurt's already done that. Chantal Crocker. So how do you do this and make sure that the addicts are feeling loved? Some of them are not loved, Anthony Hall. How do you do this and make sure that they are loved? Very simple question. We will love them too until they love themselves. But if you love an addict in the way of enabling an addict, you bury an addict. We're not here to do that. Face the truth. If you're big enough to go to drug dens and think that you're the O, come here and face a bit of home truth. So we will love them. Obviously, they don't love themselves because their self-esteem is broken. But we will love them until they learn to love themselves. But it's not our job to cushion him because he's got addiction. My mom has got dementia. We've got addiction. What is the difference? I just have to abstain, trust God, and follow a couple of rules. All my mother can do is just trust God. Thanks, Kurt. I know you Oaks care. Monique. We don't know who Monique... Oh, that's Carl's mother. Barbara. No, who's Monique Visser? Thank you, Monique. We do care. We care about every single person here. Thanks for sharing, Uncle Butch. Gladwin, tell it like it is, Mr. Hall. How are you, my brother? You've been coming up 8 months sober. We miss you. Your mother, Helen. If you pussyfoot around recovery, why don't we just go and drug? Be loving with each other. Be loving with each other. But you're not going to come to this house and think that you're going to be enabled and think that you're going to walk over our management team. Because remember, we addicts run by addicts. Addicts run by addicts. We're not your local joker who's going to be told, because the reason we know what you're telling us is because it's exactly what we used to do. Michelle, I wouldn't have my son anywhere else at RAEL, okay? All right, Michelle, how are you doing? I heard today that Mavericks is opening soon, so you don't have to worry too much. You'll get there. Lekker to see you watching. Lee J, obviously our social media manager, one of the best, if not the best. Her mother will be talking tomorrow on her life as a mom of an addict and what she does in the community. Her mother does tremendous work in the community. Tremendous. Sally, please open a woman's farm, okay? Sally, I'll give you my bank details. If you put in a couple of million, I'll do it with pleasure. We want to do it. There's a need to do it. There's a farm next to us that's going, and I wish I had the money.
I'll help you run it.
I really, Sally, I'd love to do it, but our farm is only 1 hectare. It's too small. They are loved always, no matter what they are loved. I don't love themselves because they feel less than themselves, but it's to remind them that they're loved. Quite right, Dominic. It is about love. And we see the lack of love because, like Butch says, some parents just throw them away. We must realize something, that we can love an addict to their death as well. Huh? Okay, then Diane, hi there all. Monique, what time is best suited to give you a call? You can phone any time. Chantal, Anthony Hall, you do amazing work. You're a real blessing. Thank you very much. You know what it is? It's about being thankful for being 15 years sober. Being thankful that my mom is lying in the bedroom next door and she's not worried if I'm on a slab, in a bloody jail cell, or lying on the pavement. That's what it's all about. Huh? That's why I always speak about on the families, and that's why I'm so glad that Butch came and spoke here tonight as a father, and tomorrow we have a mother who is speaking. And as this group grows, we want to give everyone a turn to speak, because you know why? It involves and affects us all. No one's going to get a Noddy badge, or no one's going to get the Nobel Peace Prize. Maybe Kurt the Great, he's also the great, will get one day. But we just want to help each other. We want to carry the message, and we want to give you one thing, and one thing to the world, because this is going out. I think yesterday we had 5,000 views. It's incredible. There isn't a rehab doing this in the world. Because we care. Because we care. Yeah, Lijah, we are the dream team. You're right. And that's why it was important that we get different people coming on and because we're never too old to learn. And the beautiful part is when we are learning. Even when our doctor comes and she realizes, hey, she never believed this happened in her life. Or this happened in the world. I've seen CEOs, managing directors, advocates, lawyers, doctors, dentists, you name it. It's not the title, because the drug will strip you of the title, and then it will strip you of everything that you've had. Alcohol and drugs. The great leveler of humankind. Alcohol and drugs. Okay, so once again, thank you, Butch, very much for sharing. It was an...
If one person has learned something tonight, it's worth it.
Absolutely. That's Butch just saying to me, if one person had learned something tonight, we've done our job. Yes, Sandra, I do have a place where we send the women. We send them to the last resort where my horse is. Well, my horse was, it died yesterday. In Montague. So you can just contact us and we will send you the details. There's a dire need for women's rehab, and there's a dire need for people that don't have finances rehab, and there's a dire need for a rehab with children, with mothers with children. And let's just put it this way, there's a dire need for rehab. But not pussyfoot rehab. Not 3 weeks, 6 weeks crap. We need rehab where the person has got at least an 80-90% chance if he follows the rules when he walks out there. There is no 2-minute noodle recovery. Okay, Mr. Hall, it would be a great idea to have a wife or girlfriend or a life partner of an addict to share with children. Absolutely perfect, Dominic. Would you like to do it? Or anyone else but Dominic, if you'd like to do it? Hello, Helga, Ora. He knows me from my drug squad days. He says they're Mr. MacGyver. They used to call me Mr. MacGyver when I was in the drug squad. But Ora, thank you for sending me your biblical, inspirational messages every single morning without fail, my brother. It's beautiful. Okay, there's no need or those that help families, that help those in need with kids in the area. I go and speak around schools, universities, technicons, corporates for the last 15 years. I've been all around the country and, okay, let's not get braggerig now, but halfway around the world as well to tell my story. And I don't charge people. Okay.
Can you tell Chichi I love her?
Okay, and then Butch just wants to tell his wife Chichi that she loves him. He obviously did something wrong again.
No, I love her.
Oh, you love her? Okay, sorry, Butch loves her. Chichi, Butch loves you. I think
Is she watching?
maybe it's because all the women who are commentating here, Butch got a bit scared. And that's the fun you have. Because, let me repeat myself, friends. It does not mean because we drank and drugged and did everything that was not according to the book that we can't have fun. That we can't be normal people. We're not going to walk around and say, and that person's going to say, look at that addict, look at that alcoholic. We're not interested in that. What other people think of us is none of our business. As long as we are doing the next right thing. Thanks, Lee shares up all the shares to YouTube. Please support us because it's free and it can save lives. We're not saying book on and get it. You know, I've seen some musical things on. You know, I've seen some musical things and they're buying tickets at Compy Ticket. No, we don't buy tickets at Compy Ticket. Here we want to save lives, man. Michelle LaRue, it was really wonderful to listen to. Thanks so much. Very honest, and his parents gives parents hope listening to a dad who has 2 boys. You're right, Michelle, you're right. You'll meet Butch one day. I'm sure you've met him. Cheers, Andrew. It's a pleasure, my brother. Sorry, no rehab people that help those in need in terms of helping others, that those who are in need of love and support. Of course, the whole world is needing love and support. Look what's happening in America now. One man tragically, badly killed by a police officer. Doesn't mean you have to burn the country down, for God's sake. Because if it happened in South Africa, where 56 farmers or so many farmers are killed and so many people were murdered, we'd all be standing outside and having a meeting now. Okay, now, Lekker Gladwin, we love you lots, huh? Colleen, beautiful. Can you help me, please, with help in terms of helping people that can help the families in need? Yes, Chantal, you go to an organization called Al-Anon. You go to an organization called Al-Anon, you can Google it, and that is for families of addicts and families of alcoholics. There are 2 groups. Al-Anon is for the alcoholic, and then there's another group from Narcotics Anonymous where you can go to, and families can help families. There's enough support groups around. Okay, Gladwin, you're gonna come visit when you're 1 year sober. Okay, people, thank you very much. It's been just a little kids as well. It's called Alateen, Chantal, also part of Alcoholics Anonymous. I found my recovery in Alcoholics Anonymous, by the grace of God, nowhere else. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. I've been to Ohio in America to go see where Alcoholics Anonymous started. I love Alcoholics Anonymous. But I have found that the message has been watered down. If you don't water a plant properly, you know it's going to die. It's going to die. So thank you very much. It's just Graeme the Great. He's just going to close off for us because his dad is sitting here, his brother's sitting here, and our manager Kurt is sitting here, and Carl and Leroy and the other guys, and our other guys are having their nightly games. Every once a week they have games night, and they learn to have fun. They learn to have fun. But there's no compromise on respect, discipline, morals, and values. Ever. Ever. All right, so thank you very much. Thank you, Gaynor. I thought you were saying I was awesome. Awesome meeting tonight. Thank you. Barbie, thank you. Makes us feel connected. That's what it's all about. We're not bad people. We're sick people. All of us are sick people. But we're getting better by the day. God bless you. God keep you. Until we meet again tomorrow night, remember, Graham's going to speak now for 2 minutes. 8:30, Helen Goodison, the legend of Montague and all those areas, will be speaking tomorrow night. God bless and thank you again, Butch.
Yeah, just keep it fucking short, man.
Thanks, Butch.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad there's so many people watching. I just want to speak from my point quickly. Not too quick, but quick. quickly that, like I spoke about the other night, we feel us as children, or as a child to a parent, we feel very, very entitled and very, very, very entitled, man, and we can call the shots in the house and all of these things, and what trouble we put our parents through. Good evening, Andrew. And we put our parents through a lot of shit, man, a lot of trouble and a lot of unnecessary anger. And as I say with that, like, I put my dad through a lot of stress, you know. Whew. A lot of stress and a lot of anger and a lot of pain. That's the word. Pain. A lot of pain. And I was self-centered, man. Very self-centered. I couldn't care. Even though I wasn't around all the time. But that was the problem. You know? That was the big problem. My parents never knew where I was or what I was doing, like he explained. And by me being like that is me being self-centered, because I couldn't care about anybody or anything. And I'm speaking on behalf of all the people who are in rehab and who are out of rehab, who move back into their parents' houses. And I think you guys need to respect your parents' decisions on what they make, man, and understand from where they're coming from, because trust is earned again. You know, once you break trust, it takes a long, long time before you can actually build it up again. I see Sally's watching. I'm glad you're watching, Sally. So bear with your parents, man, on your behalf. Bear with them, because let's say you want to go out sometimes and your parents say, be home at 8 o'clock. Make sure you're at home at 8 o'clock, man, because you're busy building up that trust again, man. So listen to them. But furthermore, I'd like to say thank you to my dad and my mom. I don't know if she's watching, I doubt it. But thank you to my parents for their support, and all my family members, like I said the other night. All you guys, I appreciate the support. And I appreciate the help of RAEL, obviously. That's a given. So enjoy your evening, ladies and gentlemen. And I love you lots. And yeah, bye.